We're live. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Home Build Workshop. Welcome to Wednesday Live. You are all doing awesome today. We'll be hanging out for a little while here, talking about stuff. You guys know the drill. I say it every time, but I feel like I do. But anyway, what's going on? How are you all doing? Paul's here already. Paul, good morning. Paul says hello all. How are you, Paul? I gotta move this camera a little bit because I think I'm losing my Wi-Fi signal for some reason. Let's try that little term. What are you up to today? We are getting rolling. This morning I'm working on the acoustic guitar and some large black walnut coffee tables, end tables. I can't really show you those, but we'll get to the guitar stuff here in a moment. I can show you the other ones, but I can't really reach them. But anyway, Paul says, good, therapy's going good. Gonna try to get back to some guitar builds this weekend. Bam, awesome. Glad to hear that. I'm glad the recovery is going well for you. Alrighty. Yeah, so it's been a little bit busy around here. Just working on projects. School starts here for us this coming Monday, so this is our last week of summer vacation for school. So we've been kind of doing some stuff outside of the shop as well, but still got projects going on and making some good progress, as you can sort of see right here. I'll show you in a minute. On the acoustic guitar, I'm super excited to where we're at right now on this. I guess we'll just jump right into it. Keeps cutting out. Sorry about that. This is where we're at. And in the molds right now. Earlier, before we started here, I trimmed the ends flush, and we are ready to basically glue in the neck block. I keep calling it a neck block, and the tail block. So I'm ready to set up my clamps, the jig, everything. Not jig, but get the dry run all done and everything lined up and glue this bad boy in. Hopefully I'll have that done shortly after we're done hanging out here. So I am really excited. This bend went really well, and so did trimming this off. I was always afraid of breaking a side, so I always hear how it did to break a side. Nothing happened yet. I'll feel a lot better once I get the blocks clamped in place and secures these ends here. But yeah, like I said, progress. We're getting there. I'm gonna try to get this portion out for a video on this weekend. I don't know if I'll make it or not because I still got to edit it. I'm gonna try for it. Getting the sides bent and the blocks glued in. So good progress. For me anyway, I feel like with still having the summer going on and all that. So yeah, we're making headway. I'm sorry. I know the video's cutting out. I don't know why that is. I'm gonna switch. I'm gonna try switching anyway. Give me just a moment here, guys. Sorry about this. I don't know what's going on. Don't know. Let's see if this works. I'm gonna switch to a hotspot Wi-Fi. We've been quite a while without a ton of issues, but I don't know. Anyway, I'm coming back to the comments here. I'm a little behind. Don't worry. Paul says, didn't summer break last a lot longer when we were kids? Yes, it did. I don't know why the summer's so short now, it seems. I think it has something to do with them trying to do a little bit closer to year-round school. At least in my area, the schools here have tons of long breaks throughout the year that we didn't have, at least when I was in school. They have a fall break that's 2 weeks long. They have a Thanksgiving break that I think is a week long. There's a Christmas break that's, I think, 2 weeks. There's spring break that's 2 weeks. There's so many long breaks, and I think that is an effort to, you know, eliminate some of the, they call it, well, here they call it the summer slide, where you're off for so long and you forget some of the stuff you've been working on. But to me, it feels like it limits the summer vacation. Like, we didn't start till like around, what is it, Labor Day? But oh well. I mean, I'm kind of used to it now, but it is still kind of strange. So I think you were right. We had a longer summer break. Let's see. Timothy's here. Timothy says hello from Chicago. Have watched since CBG days. Haven't had the time or nerve to build yet. Oh, come on, man. You can do it. You can do it. Don't be afraid. Just go for it. What's the worst that's going to happen, right? You make a mistake. So what? I made tons of mistakes. I'm probably making mistakes here on this. Mr. Doughboy, hello everyone. What's up, man? Good morning. Robert said, hey, the notification worked this time, but the video just froze. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. The weather's not bad. I don't know what the deal is. Hopefully it gets a little better. Paul says lots of lag. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know what's going on. Chaos is here. What's up, dude? Says, hey, man, how's it going? It's going good, man. What are you up to this Wednesday? Robert says video today not good, very pixelated. Focus is off as well. Yeah, guys, I apologize for whatever video issues we're having. I don't have any explanation nor reason for it. Harry Dude's here. What's up? Hello, everyone. What's up, Harry Dude? Robert just froze. I don't know what's going on. Music Logic. What's up, Jeffro and folks? Haha. Reminds me of a friend of mine back in the day. Used to call me Jeffro. I like it. What are you up to, man? You building any guitars at the moment? Robert says just refresh YouTube and it looks much better now. Oh, good. Good. Mr. Doughboy says it's global warming. Robert says nice to see the progress of the acoustic build. Dude, I am excited. Really. It's, on one hand, it feels like it's going kind of slow, but on the other hand, when I think about it, this isn't something that I've done ever. So I'm kind of learning and going slow and taking my time and trying to understand why I'm doing this and why I'm going to do that. And just, there's a lot of process learning that I'm doing. I worked with a friend of mine on Monday to get these sides bent. He has a fancy bender, one of those Charles Fox jigs, style jigs, and it's just questions. Why are we doing this? Why are we doing that? How do I do this? How do you do this? And I'm taking input from several sources. Just trying to. Right now, I don't have a process, so I'm just trying things, and I'm sure there's gonna be a second build for sure, where I'll be able to feel a little more confident and know some of the process. But it's just been fun, really. I'm really enjoying doing this, even though it's taken a while. But we'll get there. Timothy says, do you do any music production, recording with your instruments? Myself, not a whole lot. The builds that I have built for myself, I used to play, well, I haven't in a long time, and maybe at some point I will again, played in bands, cover bands, most recently. I would play my own builds for that. But as far as like a whole lot of production, not really. Back in the day, we did had an original band, and we did some studio time, a couple of albums, and I didn't have my own builds at the time. So at the moment, not really a whole lot. About the only thing that I do with them is most of my builds are right-handed. I'm not right-handed, so I usually have to have a friend of mine do some playing on it and do a little bit of video stuff for that for the website and things, but not a whole lot of production. I'd like to get back to playing more, because I do have a couple builds that I really like now, and I wouldn't mind getting some recording some studio time or something like that, even some gigs. But for right now, not a ton. Chaos says, I'm at work and watching you. Nothing too crazy. Sounds like a good day. Music Logic, no guitars, busy with parent care. Gotcha. Nothing wrong with that. Robert says, mistakes are a way of learning, sometimes expensive, but it just reinforces the experience to help not to make the same mistake again. Yeah. Yep, sometimes you got to destroy a piece of wood. That's unfortunate, but I'm trying to do as much as I can to not destroy anything on this, but we'll see how that goes. Music Logic. Jeff, you're just not right handed. No, I think you're correct. There's a little something off there. Sean's here. Sean says, I'm watching till wife gets home and busts me. If I get caught, I'm telling her you said I have to be here. Yes, I'll take the heat. I got your back, man. Robert says, I was watching Ben's live feed this morning when he was adding frets to the fretless bass, and the winner of the bass wanted frets. Ooh, interesting. I thought his whole goal was he wanted it to be fretless. I haven't watched a whole lot of that. I watched a little bit. Might have to go back and check that out, because that sounds interesting. I have, maybe a couple years ago, I made a tiny little crayon box, like a little diddly bow, 2-string diddly bow, and I want to add frets to that. So I might go back. I'm going to have to probably freehand cut each one, but I want to see how he did it. Mike says, good morning. Good morning, Mike. How are you doing this fine Wednesday? So what are you guys working on? Kind of jumped into this right off the bat for the acoustic, and I mentioned that I have the black walnut coffee tables and stuff that I got in process. If they weren't so big and awkward to lift and hold, I'd show you, but really it's just a square right now of 1 3/4 inch thick black walnut. Paul says, Jeff, should be easy to install them. I wouldn't fret over it. Man, you guys are on fire today. I like it. Yeah, for the diddly bow that I want to add frets to, I don't think it's going to be too hard, because the fretboard is not tapered or anything. It is radiused, but it's not. It's the same thickness all the way down. It's only 2 strings. So I could just go down, lay it out, cut the slots, and and move on. I might do that as a video at some point. You know, nothing super crazy, but I don't like the sound of this little thing. I've got it as 2 strings tuned basically like a 12-string guitar. It's 1 pair tuned octaves apart, and it sounds cool. But when you fret it's fretless, so there's no frets. But when you fret a note, it doesn't ring out as well as I wanted. So I kind of want to go back at some point and add frets to it. I think that'll fix all of the problem. But I don't think it's going to be too bad. Yeah, Paul said, the wifey wants a wheelchair for one of our dogs. Oh, you have an elderly dog? That'd be kind of an interesting project. Mike says, installed a window AC unit, built a platform, insulation to the rest of the frame. Nice. I've thought about building something around. That's all we have is a window AC. We don't have central air or anything. The house is way too old to have any sort of central stuff like that. So Yeah, window AC for us. Let's see. Robert says, I missed the first half where he was making the slots to put the frets in, and he had to remove some brass he put in flush to show where the fret would have been. Oh, yeah. I remember you had that in there. Oh, the hell. You got to take that out. Dastardly Dave says, sup, all. Sup, Dave? What's going on? Kaya says, oh, you should build a 12-string guitar. That is on my list, actually. 12-string electric or, well, maybe now, maybe a 12-string acoustic. It is something I want. I don't know, I'd probably play it a fair bit, but a 12-string, for me, has a little bit of nostalgia, maybe. My uncle, who taught me, like, the first few chords on guitar, played guitar his entire life that I knew him, and he's sadly no longer with us. But the 12-string really, every time I hear a 12-string, it reminds me of him. So I kind of have a little soft spot for a 12-string, and I really do want one, mainly for that reason, because I love the sound of it, and it reminds me of my uncle, yeah, I don't know, maybe we'll have to do a 12-string acoustic or something, because that's what he played. I love that. I just remember him playing it all the time, and just that 12-string kind of chorusy sounding thing. It's just cool to me. So yes, at some point, I will make some part of a 12-string or some sort of, whether it's a lefty, a handmade lefty 12-string, I think would be kind of cool. So Chaos, I think, yes, at some point I will do that. I don't know when exactly, but Paul says, ow. He didn't say ow, I said ow. Paul says, yes, she's about 1,000,000 years old. Actually, 17-year-old rat terrier, bad left leg. That's getting up there. 17 for a dog. Mike says, just got through 9 days of 90 plus in the Pacific Northwest. Needed to get this done. It's been pretty hot here too. And we've actually, which is very strange, or uncommon, I guess, we've had a bit of humidity here, which is not very common. We had several rainstorms last week, which was good and well needed, but I have noticed actually a little bit of humidity in the air, which for me, I kind of like. I don't like 90-100% humidity, but I do like some humidity. Here we're usually like, I don't know, 10% or something ridiculously low. And but it's been pretty warm here as well. Paul says she's opposed to some 5-minute epoxy. What? She's opposed to some 5-minute epoxy, a caster, and some pin nails. So I have to actually build something. Man, I thought your plan sounded perfect. 5-minute epoxy, some pin nails. You don't even have to. No, you don't even need casters. Just use a hole saw and cut out some little discs. Oh, I'm gonna get to that too. You just reminded me of something. I'm gonna pull it out so I don't forget. But yeah, but Paul, I think your plan is a solid one. I support your decision. Robert says, I bought a Pitbull 12-string. Looks kind of like a 335 on the body. Oh, cool. Oh, really need to put it together and finish it. Yeah, you should. You should. Hair Dude says, tried flat wound strings on the diddly bow? Used them on a fretless conversion I did. I have not. I've not tried that. I just use regular guitar strings. I think I have like a low E and a high E on there. I might have to try that. Do you think that would make the note fret better? If that's all I need to do, you gotta let me know your thoughts on that. How would that work better? I'm not real familiar with flat wounds, but I'm definitely not opposed to it. Chaos says, I'd also like to see you build an amp. Something where the wood has a cool stain to it, or something creative to show it's handmade and not made in a factory. Chaos, are you reading my list of projects? Did I somehow send that to you? An amp, I would like to build an amp. I would like to get a kit amp, one of those, point to point, just solder the deals together, and then build a case for it, or some sort of a cabinet. Yes, that's all stuff that I want to do. It's just when. I've seen some pretty cool amp kits, where it comes with the circuit board, and you just have to, I don't know, solder everything together. I want to try one of those. So if anybody has any good recommendations for a nice amp kit, let me know, because at some point, like I said, that's something that I want to try. Mike says, it would seem with a diddly bow, you could use metal rings on a broomstick neck rather than actual frets. Play authentic. Yeah, you could. This is not 100% authentic. I forget what I use for the neck. I'd have to look at it. But it's it's an inch and a half, I believe, wide. Feels kind of like a broomstick, but it is flat on, well, a slight radius on top. Probably not necessary, but maybe I should just make a whole new one. Robert says, I bought an LP style 12-string kit that had a screwed up neck. The nut side of the neck was about a 1/16 too close on one side. Ugh. Dastardly Dave says, building an amp is fun. That would be cool. Yeah, I don't know what I want to do for that. It's not coming up super close on the build schedule, but it is stuff that it's something that I want to do. I think it would be pretty cool to build an amp and then be able to play a guitar that you built through an amp that you built, and maybe even through some pedals that you built. That's another thing I want to do. Probably not from scratch, because I don't know that much about those kinds of circuits, but there are some pedal kits that I'd like to do as well. So at some point I'll probably do one of those as well. I keep hearing good things about that. I think it's called the Ghost Drive that StuMac sells. It's supposed to be a clone. And I've heard that it sounds pretty close. I've seen a couple videos on it, so I thought about maybe trying to build one of those. Wow. Make some biscuits. I made a rolling pin sander. Just a couple weeks ago, I used the hole saw and made a whole bunch of cuts for a PVC organizer storage thing, and these little discs were kicking around, and it got me thinking that, hey, we can make a rolling pin sander. This came out on the old YouTube last weekend, so if you guys haven't seen that, this actually was really easy to use. I don't know how much I'm going to use it on this particular project, because I don't want to sand any divots in the side, so I might do most of it by hand. But I thought it'd be kind of fun to make one of these, and surely it'll come in handy for lots of other projects as well. Kind of just a spindle sander. It doesn't oscillate or anything, but you put your drill on here and spin away at your biscuit dough. For those of you that have a rolling pin sander, what do you find it most handy for? I'd be curious to hear. Let's see. So on the rolling pin sander, this is like super simple, really, when it comes down to it. The hardest part, really, and it wasn't even that hard, was I had to, instead of using just a piece of threaded rod, I tapped I threaded this end from here to about here, so that I can bolt this thing all together. And yeah, other than that, it's just cutting out discs. Drilled a hole in the end for a couple bearings. There's one on either side. Allows the handle to spin. It works awesome. Harry Dude says, search online for Lamington amps. Not kits as such, but instructions on building valve amps, lots of versions, and output power choices. I think I have, that sounds super familiar. I think I have that bookmarked on my computer, the Lamington. You might have told me about that before. And yeah, I'm pretty sure I have that saved in there, but I got to go back to it and revisit it. Is that an Australian company? Harry Dude, I feel like it is, but I could be wrong on that. Chaos says you should do something like sponsor local artists so they play with your guitars, maybe where they get a discount or something. Yes, I am not opposed to that. I just, I would just need to find the right fit, the right person. I'm not against that at all. Build them. Whether it's one that I already have built or some sort of a somewhat custom build. Robert says, I tried building a pedal kit and goofed up one of the solder pads on the circuit board, bought another kit, and it came with no instructions on where to solder the different components. Eey, that sounds terrible. I did build a pedal. Oh man, this is probably 15 years ago or more. Actually, probably more than that. It's just a really simple fuzz pedal. Just tried to follow a schematic. There's no circuit board or anything. It's all just kind of a point-to-point jumbly mess in there. Or is there a circuit board? There might be. I might have used one of those little breadboards to hold everything down. Actually, I think I did. And it works. I should revisit that because when I was building that one, I was nowhere really near doing what I'm doing now. But I wanted to build a pedal. It was when I was, just getting my original band was getting going. I just wanted to try doing some things. I was into, doing some wiring mods on my guitars, and I'm like, yeah, we can build a pedal. Sure, why not? But I tried to go. The schematic didn't offer any sort of LEDs or anything like that to tell you when it's on or off. It was just a foot switch, a couple of controls. But I tried to add the LED because I wanted it to turn on, like a lot of pedals do. That wasn't in the schematic that I had, so I didn't really know how to do that. Now, I believe I know how to do that, so I should go back and finish wiring in that part. I think I probably need to get a different foot switch. I think I probably have one. But yeah, it was kind of fun. It's a, like I said, it's a fuzz pedal. Doesn't sound great. It's not a great fuzz pedal, but it does work. Robert says, do any of the schools in your area have a music program that could use a guitar? Possibly. I even at my daughter's school, they are working on setting up some different programs starting this year. So like next week, and their music teacher is a musician as well, not just like a music teacher. He actually plays out, has his own band and stuff. I think he's got a jazz ensemble or something like that. I thought about talking to him about that exact thing, and seeing if there was something that could be done there. I think you could probably make a couple, you know, uh, fairly easily using a little, nothing too crazy because it's going to get probably knocked around by students. But yeah, you could probably put a couple of them together for not a ton of money, and let the school use them or something. I don't know. I've been thinking about that. Mike says, I would be concerned about keeping the rolling pin perpendicular to the piece I'm sanding. Using a hard rubber cylinder and hand sanding worked better so as not to be too aggressive. Yes, that is exactly the concern. So there's companies that make these, and they advertise them as for sanding stuff like an acoustic guitar. And the idea sounds good to me. However, I think your point is exactly correct. I think that's the challenge, right? So they advertise these as being great for sanding your sides nice and flat. When you're trying to hold, so when you run this thing, it's in a drill, right? Like this. It's not balanced, right? You got all the weight over here. This is just holding it steady. So the chances of you having exact pressure on here is going to be challenging for an acoustic guitar. I decided to make this kind of as a test because I wanted to try it. I can see some uses for this maybe outside of the acoustic. I might, I don't know if I think this would be handy for certain areas on the neck, you know, carving and sanding the neck heel, maybe around the volute and stuff like that. But I don't think that it's the best choice for sanding the sides like they advertise these for. I could be wrong, but I've talked to more than one person who also feels the same way, that these should not be used on an acoustic side. If you guys have ever used a spindle sander, you'll know, I'm sure, that it's really easy to sand a little divot in your piece. You know, if your speed is not consistent, if your pressure is not consistent, it's really easy to get a little bump in there. Now, spindle sanders I think are a great tool, and I use mine a fair bit. And I think this can be the same. I think this can be the same. I just would be afraid of sanding a divot into the side. So I probably won't use it much on this because for that exact reason. I don't want to put a divot in the side. These sides they're already thin. Well, I mean there's a little bit there. They're about 90 thousandths, but yeah, I don't think I want to sand any divots in there that now I got to sand out and remove even more material. I think this will come in handy for necks and things like that, certain areas. But yeah, trying to keep pressure even and straight and your speed. But I don't know. We'll see. You know, this thing was super easy to make, and you know, it's not like I had to go and spend, you know, a couple $100 or something for some of the commercial ones. So if it turns out that I don't use it, well, I got it. if the need ever comes up. So we'll see how that goes. Robert said the pedal I tried was a delay type. Cool. That'd be fun. I like delay pedals. Kaya says, have you done any 3D printing lately? Nothing large. I did last week on this particular thing when I was building this. The bearings in the end had a different diameter, and I needed to reduce it down to work with this piece of rod, so I 3D printed a couple little bushings, really, and it worked just fine. But I haven't done anything super big. A couple weeks ago, I did print a few different things, some stuff that some people had bought off the website. But for the most part, I don't use it unless I'm building a jig or some parts or something like that. It's really all I do with it. Yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I've made. Not really on that. It's probably the longest it's gone unused since I've had it, really. Because I don't make a lot of, you know, little figures or that sort of thing. I use it for tools and parts and stuff like that. So if you need something printed, let me know. Robert says, it's a real shame that many schools don't even have a music or art program anymore. Those types of programs help teach creative problem solving skills. I know. I fully agree with that, and I believe that since, well, probably for a lot of you guys, when we were in school, right, there was we had shop class. I had wood shop, I had metal shop, I had electronics, I had welding class, I had there was another one where we did like plastic thermoforming and stuff like that. I had a small engine class, a whole semester long of small engine class. I took every single shop class that was ever offered, and I think that I think a lot of that has contributed. Learning that stuff early. Early what high school. I think that makes a huge difference, and I feel bad that a lot of the kids don't have access to that anymore. It's just not offered. Budget restraints or whatever. I it makes me feel bad, really, and that's why I like to try to involve my daughter, and I try to encourage everyone, get your kids out there to do something. I don't care if it's a birdhouse or whatever. If you've got just a couple of tools, teach them how to use those things, and try to pass that stuff along. Yeah, I don't like it. We need shop classes, right? Even if it's just a wood shop class, just to be able to teach, a little bit of that. But yeah, I was fortunate enough to have that whole, everything you can imagine, for the most part. I grew up in a very rural area, kind of I did. So, yes, I wish more schools could do a lot of that stuff. Major upgrade! What's up, man? What is going on? How are you doing this fine Wednesday? Harry Dude says, I fixed some instruments from the local schools. They get trashed hard, and the schools hate paying for maintenance on them. Low-end Squires and Yamahas. Yeah. If I were to do anything like that, I would totally, be doing all the repairs on it as well. I don't want them taking them somewhere else. For that exact reason, I know they're going to get beat and bang, but hey, that's not a bad testament to durability, though. If you got a couple of your builds being played by the school band of some sort, and they can live up to that, they're going to probably live up to about anything. Major upgrade, says the nicer, less jaded Pat Finnerty. Paul says, gotta go, working. Have a great week. Right on, Paul. Have a good one, buddy. Robert says to Paul, stay safe and healthy. Right on. Major upgrade says, I should have done woodshop. Everybody should have done woodshop. Not just because it's kind of what I do, but I truly believe that everybody needs to know how to make something. That's been my thing for a while, right? The kids all need to know they can do that. Whether they're going to do this later in life, it has nothing to do with that. But just knowing that, they have learned that you can do this with your hands. If you decide to later on down the road, maybe that a little something pops into your head, and you go, "Oh, I remember doing that with my dad or my grandpa or in shop class." So I can learn how to do that. I don't know. Yeah, we don't know where the kids are going to be, 50 years from now. I have no idea what, my daughter or anybody else is going to be doing. But at least I want her to be able to think back, oh yeah, I remember my dad doing that thing. Maybe I can do that, learn up on the skills and do that thing. And who knows, maybe she'll want to do the exact same thing. I have no idea. But I think, teach them now. Chaos says, 3D print a guitar. That would be crazy. 3D print as much of the guitar as you can. That has been done as well. And it's also on my list. My printer's smaller, so I'd have to chop the body up into pieces and glue it together. But I've seen several builds done that way. I think I've even seen the neck done that way, and it sounds like a guitar. I think it'd be pretty cool. Have you guys seen, well, I'm talking about guitars made out of different materials. Fender, have you guys seen that Fender cardboard guitar? I think they put it out several years ago, but the whole entire thing, I believe, is made out of corrugated cardboard. It's just wild. Robert says, in my high school years, I had woodshop classes and art classes. After I finished school, for the first 12 years, I worked as a commercial artist and went to tech school for it. Oh, dude, that's cool. Yeah, we had art class. Yeah, I had a ceramics class. I kind of like that. Um, all the shop classes you could imagine. Yep. Art, to me, I think art was, we had it every year. I don't remember not having art. Maybe high school, I don't remember necessarily art. Probably because I chose shop class, but yeah. Major upgrades is nice. Robert says, finish my working career as a computer tech. Oh, right on. Major upgrade. Good thing Harbor Freight is close to me. Well, both good and bad. Yeah, depending on what you're after. You know what I really liked? Well, most of them are being used. Oh, here's one. These little cheap Harbor Freight clamps. I really like these. I really do. I've bent one of these is bent. I probably cranked it a little too tight. Maybe it's this one. Anyway, but overall for the price, I really feel that you can't beat these. And you see so many people using them as well. So, and if you're needing clamps, I definitely wouldn't want just these maybe as clamps. I want at least a couple good ones. I've got some Bessey parallel clamps and stuff, but for the most part, I'm using these guys for a lot of things, and they work just fine. These are Harbor Freight. They're like a couple bucks a piece or something. I think these are the 6-inch ones. I got, I don't know, 10 of them or something like that, but I want to get like another 10 of them maybe. And just, if you break one, so what? It's a couple bucks. And I've had these for over a year, maybe 2 years now, and I haven't broke one yet. Major upgrades. Yeah, the Fender cardboard thing was pretty wild. Wasn't that crazy? Hey dude, I saw a video where a guy 3D printed a neck in one piece on a printer with a rolling bed. I think I saw that. It's on that Creality with the conveyor belt thing. I forget the name of that printer. I think that's the one. Imagine that. You could put 3D if you I think they make a wider one. The print mill, I think it's called. You could just print from headstock to body if it's wide enough. That's wild. Robert says, the major upgrade, yeah, it's pretty much hit and miss on the tools that Harbor Freight sells. Yes, that's true. I like those clamps. Chaos says you should sell a guitar kit, pre-built all the parts with no paint, and they assemble and paint it how they want. I've thought about that several times, and I think when I'm able to get a CNC machine, when I can pull that off, I might start doing that. When I can cut out the neck and I can cut out a body and basically not have to spend quite as much time hand making each one, I probably will try that. Right now, it just takes, all my stuff is done with templates and routers and sanding and all that stuff. And I think with a CNC machine, I could, you just load it in there. Once I have the files done, which I'm slowly in the process of building the files, even though I don't have a CNC, I do think that that's definitely an option for the future. Ideally, part of my vision for Home Built Workshop is to be able to do stuff like that, right? If I have a CNC machine, I can have, I don't want to compare it to Crimson, but you know how they have their factory floor, you know, where they have their machines and then people are running the machines and making the stuff. I kind of see that, but on a smaller scale. I'd like to be able to have somebody who to help me at the shop, a larger shop, of course, but uh, to be able to do that, run the CNC, make these parts, and you know, help out with other applications, stuff like that. So, ideally, that's what I want to do at some point in the future of Home Built Workshop. And while I'm thinking about it, Chaos, I got to plug that video that you did of the MRE thing. So I don't know if you guys remember. Some of you may have. I know I've talked about it before. I mentioned it. I was in one of Chaos's videos on his YouTube channel for civilians trying MREs. I've never tried an MRE. Chaos asked me if I wanted to be a part of this video, and so we came up, did some film here, and I went through the process of trying an MRE, and it was awesome. The video turned out great. If you guys want to head over there to Chaos's channel and check it out, that video is hilarious. So Chaos did some awesome editing. Me and another YouTuber or video creator, couple of us tried these things out, and it turned out awesome. It turned out great. The edit was great. And the funny part was that we both had basically the exact same reactions across the board, pretty much. I had trouble opening the thing. He had trouble opening the thing, and it was just awesome. So you guys go over to Chaos's YouTube channel and check out that video, and you'll see me in there trying an MRE here in the workshop. It was great. Mike says, when you turned around to pull something off the bench, thought you were going to pull out the roadside chisel. I still have that roadside chisel. Look, I even made a little thing. There it is. There's the roadside Harbor Freight chisel. Since I was carving the braces, I had to spend a fair bit of time sharpening these chisels, so I just knocked together a quick little leather thing to keep them from getting smashed up. I'm already tearing up the leather, but that's okay. Saving the ends, including the roadside chisel, which is still pretty sharp. I'm gonna slice my finger. Don't worry, it's not gonna stay in here permanent. Just until I get a better one. Let's see. Andreas said Sandvik printed a guitar in stainless steel a couple years ago and had Ingve play it in the videos. Wow, I got to check that out. Major upgrade. Is MDF a good material for pick guards? I would say no. MDF makes great templates and for certain other applications, but for actual like guitar parts, I would not recommend MDF. It's too. I mean, it probably wouldn't break if you use it as a pick guard because it's screwed down around the around the outside. Where you're going to run into problems is probably, I would say, with finishing. Depending on what you use, you definitely wouldn't want to use any water-based finish because water and MDF don't mix. Maybe you could use what's that material? Is it Corian? Melamine. Melamine, maybe. I think it's MDF with like a countertop type of material on top of it. If you could get super thick or super thin, I honestly think that I would recommend against using MDF for the final pick guard. For the template, absolutely, it would work just fine. But I don't think I'd make a pick guard out of it. Now, there's no reason you can't. I'm not saying don't do it, don't try different things. I always recommend trying stuff and trying different things, different materials. Just because I don't feel it's the best choice does not mean that it wouldn't work. You know, it's just not, it would not be something that I would choose to use for a pick guard. I mean, you can get that, what is that stuff called? The like the tortoise shell pick guard, the pick guard material. You can get it fairly inexpensive. The MDF would work great for the template, but I mean, unless you wanted to just experiment with something and just try it out just for fun, I would say probably not the best material for a pick guard. But it's up to you. You want to experiment? By all means, go for it. I'll never discourage you or anyone else from experimenting with something. Robert says, I remember seeing a guitar build on YouTube where he uses corrugated cardboard for the whole guitar. I think they poured resin in the spaces. Looking straight on, looked like a honeycomb. That's what the Fender one looked like, but I don't think it had resin. I think it was just the cardboard. Major Upgrade says, oh, just wondered if it is done, really. Yeah, not really that I'm aware of. Chaos says, that was a fun video. It turned out good. Man, that turned out awesome. Haley was watching it with me, and we're just laughing. It was just hilarious. Robert says, yeah, I watched the video of you trying the MRE. Thanks, Robert, for checking it out. Harry Dude says, I wouldn't use MDF for a pick guard. Too flimsy. At 3mm thickness, it's very soft. Would chew out at the screw holes. Yes, that's another good point. It's softness. You try to chamfer those holes, and it's going to, yeah. Major Upgrade says, oh, cool, just a passing thought. Dude, those are, a lot of times those are the best, that's the best thoughts. Like when you have a crazy idea, or what may seem a crazy idea, sometimes it's worth just experimenting and just trying. So, yeah, continue having thoughts like that. I'm not saying it's bad at all. Robert says, Dan from Guns and Guitars uses a lot of 1/8" birch ply for pick guards. I could see that. Hair Dude, the MDF is cheap material to rough out a design. I've done it many times, then transfer to a thicker MDF for a template to make the final product. Yep, absolutely. Almost all of my guitar templates are made out of MDF. Not that particle board. If you're gonna, you got to get the good MDF. There's a difference, and I used to call that particle board MDF, right? I don't mean the chipboard, like, you know, for on a house, but MDF should be almost non-porous necessarily. There's a different one. I think it's particle board, maybe, where it's made out of larger pieces, and you'll get pores and stuff in there, and that's not as sturdy. The very first set of templates I ever made, I used that stuff, and I did build a guitar body out of those templates, and it worked. But you get the good MDF that's like super. There's no voids and holes. It's almost like super fine sawdust all glued together. This is the stuff that works the best for templates, in my opinion. And most of my templates are now, actually all my templates are made out of this actual MDF. Major Upgrade says, the cardboard guitar from Fender sort of destroys the tone wood debate. Yes. Yes, it does. Depending on who you talk to. There's always going to be somebody that would argue that to the death, but I'm not one of those people. Because clearly, it's made out of cardboard. Who cares what the wood is? I'm not even going to, that's all I'm going to say. I'm not even going into the debate. I think on this, your choices make more of a difference. On the electric, yeah. Cool. Anyway, guys, you guys got any last minute questions, comments, suggestions? Oh. Ooh. As soon as we get done here, I'm making some padded clamping calls for clamping this the acoustic end blocks on. So I've got a couple strips of leather here. Going to be gluing them to some scraps of mahogany. That way I can have some nice padded stuff. So I got to glue that up, and then we're going to be gluing these blocks in. Probably once these dry, I would say in the next hour or two. Well, either by this afternoon, we'll have the blocks glued on here. At least that's the plan. Mike says, I've seen different quality MDF, some harder than others. My local home big box store had the lower quality. I'm looking for the higher quality for templates. If you guys know, what's the difference, right? So I've got this stuff, which to me, that's the high quality stuff. But do you guys know the one that has a little bit bigger? I don't even think I have a scrap handy. Yes, no. Yeah, can I get it down without knocking stuff over? Oh, right there. That's made out of the other stuff. Let me see if I can grab that real quick, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Oh! No, wait, here, we'll just use this. Oh. Awkward. So I just use this when I'm spraying guitars, just a little riser so that the guitar body, if it's not sitting right on the table. But do you guys see the difference? There's like open pores in this. They used to call this MDF. I don't think that is true MDF. Is that what you're talking about by the different grades? I would not recommend for templates because of that right there. But like I said, I did make a set of templates out of this. My very first set of templates was made out of this, and I did use it to successfully build a guitar body. But this stuff isn't great. I think this is what countertops are. And then they put the melamine or whatever on it. But this is, in my opinion, not what you want. You want the good, solid MDF where it's, perfectly smooth and flat. Now, this isn't sanded here at the end, but you can see there's no voids, gaps, stuff in there. That's the stuff you want. In my area, anyway, I can get this at the home stores. I got this at the Orange Home Store. But they have that. They have it. You can get it in 4x8 sheets. You can get it in like 4x4 sheets, and that's usually what I have. Major Upgrade says, thanks for taking the time to do these live streams. You're always so encouraging and transparent. It really is refreshing to see real people here on YouTube. Well, thank you, man. I really do appreciate that. And really, that is the whole reason that I do these live streams. I like to be able to just talk about stuff and, chat with you guys just about random, well, not really random, but sometimes it is. And that's why I don't really structure these. I don't have a list. I don't have objectives. I like to cover what I'm working on, and then from there, it's just, we always end up down some sort of road, really. And I just like to keep it free flowing. You want to ask a totally unrelated question, go for it. And that's the whole idea. I just like hanging out, chatting, talking about stuff. There's been some awesome ideas and even some projects that have come out of these. So that's the whole goal. So thank you, man. I really do appreciate that. Chaos says you should build a guitar out of something crazy. Then you could have a video title like, I turned an old microwave into a guitar, or something like that. I have an idea that I think I'm not going to share it yet. But it's going to be a kind of like that at some point, whenever I get to that point, a crazy build. Some people are going to be like, what? I've actually, when I get to it, that's all I'm going to share. But I got an idea. But it's not a microwave. That would be kind of cool. I did want to do one out of a toaster before. I thought that would be kind of cool. I need to hit some yard sales. Find some goofy stuff. Robert says, I was watching a YouTube video a few years ago that used a laser CNC to cut out the parts and build templates from. They cut a weird joint to put the two-piece neck pattern together in the middle. Interesting. Sounds familiar to me. I wonder if I've seen that as well. Harry Dude says, we call that chipboard here in Australia, sometimes called particle board. Yes, so I call it the same thing, particle board or chipboard. Yeah, like a particle board. Chipboard, no, that's OSB, right? You guys know that stuff they, like sheathe a building or something with. It has like, it's like you sent the stuff through a wood chipper and then took that and glued it up. They're like big giant pieces. That I don't have any of. So to me, there's like there's four. You got regular plywood, you got that glued up wood chipper chips, you got the particle board, and then you have MDF. There's probably something else in there too, for all I know. Mike says, I'll take some pictures and post it later in the week. Take care all. Right on, Mike. Thanks a lot, man. I appreciate it. Major Upgrade says, gotta run. Have a great day. Right on, guys. And actually, we're now at the top of the hour as well. So I'm going to need to be wrapping this up and getting on with this. So Robert says, I think one of the craziest guitar builds was last year where two guys went into the woods and cut the guitar parts out of dead fallen trees. Deadfall trees. Nice. Harry Dude, the big chips in a sheet we call OSB. Yeah, OSB. Oriented strand board. Wood chipper chips. Anyway, guys, like I said, got to wrap this up. I want to say thank you, as always, for tuning in to the lives. Look forward to them every time. And next week, we're going to be over on the old Facebook. So if you can, love to have you tune in over there. If not, I'm going to let you guys go. And I'll see you guys back here on YouTube in 2 weeks. Be on the lookout for this next video here. Hopefully this weekend. If not, it's going to be the following weekend. And then after that, it's going to be the end table and coffee table builds, as we'll get caught up on things here around the shop as school starts. But I hope you guys are having an awesome summer, and I hope you guys are all doing amazing. And get out there, build something. Teach somebody how to build something. Pass it along. Doesn't even car, but go build a birdhouse. Build something to share with somebody else. So let's spread the knowledge. We can't afford to keep it to ourselves. Anyway, guys, hope you guys have an awesome week. Thanks for tuning in, and we will see you guys next week. Thanks, guys. Take care. Every time. Later. It doesn't work. Why?